jail lunch.
Everybody should pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Jason. Here. Leroy. Here. Kevin. Here. I'm here. Approve the agenda. May 9th agenda.
So moved.
All in favor? Those in favor? Opposed? Okay, April 27th minutes.
Motion on the minutes.
Okay, we got a motion, we have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll go right to 9:30.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So we're here to talk a little bit about the jail. We came up with a preliminary estimate of probable cost and preliminary plan for you to look at. So, the one thing that we looked at is Kearns Jail. You're in competition with two other jails to be the oldest jail in the state of Iowa. And, so we looked at the existing facility. I think we all walked through it a while ago. So we knew that there wasn't much that we could salvage in that facility. So we started putting a general plan together based on what was expressed as the needs for the county. And we wanted to get an estimate of the cost together. So we tried to see where we're at this time and where we need to move with the board. So I have some bigger plans also, but I figured we'd be tight for space in here. Just to go over the site plans on the current site, and we're showing that we would take the old housing structure down and then create the jail to the, I believe north is to the south of the existing facility.
To the
No,
east.
the existing facility. So basically we looked at a couple options. The two squares at the end are future additions that could be put on to the facility in the future. And we just tied into the architect tied into the existing building there and created video visit areas, expanded squad room, and basically just tied into the existing building. The one thing we want to be cautious of is that he has a 2-hour firewall in that area because we didn't want to get into a situation where we had to fire sprinkle and meet all the current codes on the existing addition. So if you go in and you do too much construction or renovation in there, you would have to bring that whole building up to code, energy code, and also fire sprinkler system and everything. Basically what you're looking at is, and I kept having to minimize it, is that you would have 10 classifications by having the individual cells instead of the dorm type cells that you have now. I think that's an important aspect of the project to look at. And then on the back of the control room, you have 2 special status cells. So the special status cells as well as the holding cells would have negative air pressure in them. which would, contain any airborne contaminants, TB, COVID, anything. That air is not distributed in the facility, it's dumped outside of the facility. So I've had to minimize what we needed, and I guess we've looked at this a couple of times, and just the two general population areas that are future, if we use them, we might save a little bit of money overall, but on the other hand, you'd be back to the same situation as what you have currently. You have those two dorm areas, you put one person that can't get along with anybody else, and that whole cell block shot. So that's why I was looking at maximizing the classifications on this for you. As far as the site plan, you can see it can be adjusted. I talked to Rick, it looks like it's interfering with the drive-through a little bit, but I think that can be addressed further, that we would not interfere with the current drive-through around the courthouse. Just to give you a general idea of how that building would lay out. Floor plan, we've done payroll also, and, payroll also is currently over in Emmitsburg, is currently under construction. We've done several drills around the area, Rock Rapids and everything else, and trying to keep costs down, but as everybody knows, cost of materials gone up a little bit, concrete's up to what, $180 a yard now? It's just crazy. We used to make patio bricks out of the extra and everything else, and I don't want to order it yet. Questions on just the general layout of that. And the reason I'm going through this is I wanted to make sure when I gave the estimate of probable cost that you're aware of what overall.
Would you be able to build that vehicular sally port that close to the street?
It's on our property right now. It's beyond it before the sidewalk. So it's on our property.
Right.
I'm
just not sure what the zoning is.
Typically, their setbacks are usually around 25 feet, for setback. It could be shorter, I can double check, could be 24.
The thing we do is apply for variance or for whatever we need to do. Currently, it's on, beyond the property line. I think the center portion of the street would probably be quite a ways back, but I'd like to be able to move it that way more, but that's a matter of visiting with the city and going through the correct measures, when we determine where we want to be financially, and also, we have to double-edged sword. We have to provide what the county needs. And I believe, originally it's just two dormers, and I thought that's not going to work for the county. I don't want to be involved in a project where you say, dang, Hanson, why did you do that? We're back in the same situation. It's got to work for the county, both operationally and financially. So we're going to have to probably get fairly creative with how we try to fund this project.
What's the current occupancy, Kevin?
Currently right now,
How many?
7.
We've got room for 7?
Well, our total capacity is 13.
13.
We got 7 in right now.
Do we need to go to 22?
This is 18.
The occupancy says 22 beds. They're on the bottom of the paper.
Oh, we got 6 in medium and max, 6 in east medium max, and 2 in special status, which is 18. Right, 6, 12.
But with expansion,
Does that include
if we
current, we'll retain some
Yes.
cells with our current structure, right?
No. Oh,
The two we're using right now for our so-called juveniles and our overnight guests that don't get yet put in the general population, would them stay there in general? They would.
Over here.
Yep, right there.
Those could possibly stay there, but again, you don't wanna get into where you're gonna have a situation where you're gonna have to go in and modify or bring that whole building up to code. That's basically your juvenile center, correct?
Well, we haven't held juveniles for a long time. We're
Yeah.
certified to, but what those cells are used for is work release, when we got a bad actor and they need to be put by themselves, that's where they go. Or
Yeah.
over, people that just get arrested overnight, they go into those cells.
Yeah, those would probably be used for work release, if anything, because you're gonna be in a minimum security situation. Basically, if you're looking, to answer your question, if you're looking at the cell structures, the smaller cells are single cells, which are, minimum security, or maximum security. And then the larger cells in that area can be double bunked. Those are medium security. But the thing I'm looking at is being able to separate individuals, which we can let out one at a time. So in the one side, you'd have 2, 4, 6. And the other side, you'd have 6 available. And then the 2 special status cells, which are individual cells. So you have 6, 12, 14 cells immediately. Now that dotted line going across the cell block that you're looking at, that is future expansion, or you can go up. That would be ready to put those cells right on top, similar cells right on top. So it does have expansion capabilities within the existing facility, as well as those blocks on the end. I mean, I'd love to be able to just put the ones, one of the general population cells in there also. But you only pick up 2 cells in the existing building, if anything. But again, you're trying to create the maximum security in that area. So I don't know.
And this would have a pitched roof, right?
It would have
Pitched
a
roof.
pitch roof, yeah. It would drain off the sides.
Okay.
We usually pitch structure and then also pitch it with insulation, but it doesn't drain into any interior roof drains. Drains into a gutter and downspout system.
Okay, good. What do you think, Kevin? Will this work?
Yeah, that would work. And, just to throw that out there, one of the cells it's in the newer part right now, it'd be sitting in these orange part. We couldn't use it off spring because it's snow melt, because the water was coming in there just as fast as the furnace, as the faucet was. So yeah, that cell was off limits because it was leaking so bad in there again.
It would be beneficial to get one of the dorm areas in, and then I would like to see where we can maybe reuse those areas for squad room and stuff, and maybe slim the new construction up and, keep it to just jail, to jail area, renovation of the old jail,
Yeah.
So, I guess it depends on cost too, right, So I don't look at these till after I get them done, because I don't want to influence my thoughts on it. So this gives us the preliminary estimate of probable cost. And these sheets here, I usually collect back up from you. well, just for instance, they'll look and say, oh my God, he's got $1,200 in there for a toilet. I can do that, I can go down to Menards and buy one and put it in. But when we calculate trap, water coming to it and everything, you know. So there's other things that go along with it, so. But I want you to see how we put it together anyways, so.
Mr. Chair, I did go down and verify 25-foot setback for city,
From the settlement or,
from the right-of-way line, which is most likely back to sidewalk.
Supposed to have two of these?
yeah, I'll collect these back, the front has the overview on it. Yeah, you're good.
You want more for me, I think. Everybody has one, right?
Yep.
Everybody has one.
I'll leave one. This one.
One of the, Jerry,
Yeah, so I'll leave one for him with,
get one. So this, which one do you want back? Both of them, or?
just back, just calculation.
Okay, great.
So basically, we went through and when I do the estimate, I do it based on building it in my mind. So, I have the excavation for the exterior footings, all the trench footage, I'm not gonna go through it individually. And then I do the bar joist. I'm using precast, panels, insulated structural panels for the exterior components. And then, 6-inch solid precast panels for a lot of the interior ones, some masonry and other things. The exercise that you currently have does not meet any of the state requirements for height, and it's outside. This exercise would be, meets the indoor, outside exercise requirements, but, it has a rolling door, which allows us to meet the outdoor, but then it's 12 foot in the air, so they can't see out, no, can the public see. It's, pitched roof, as you requested, and, they'll have a 60 mil, EPDM or, PVC type of roofing on it. You'll notice I have in red the existing roof renovation. We would wanna, I didn't know whether to put that in there, if we're gonna take that out of a separate budget. Like I said, we'll have to discuss it sometime, the type of financing we can use. But the roof over the sheriff's office is holding water right now, along with over by the stall area. So wherever that pitch is, we probably wanna take care of that, you know, while we're doing the construction too, or prior to. I just go through and I pick up all the interior. Dispatch stations were moved from the front of the existing building and would be located into the control room. So as far as, the one thing we wanna do is control any need for additional staffing, in the new jail, even with the ability to hold additional inmates. So if I have dispatch in there trained as trained jailers, they'll be able to control the doors and everything. So with the efficiency of the design, we should not have to increase staff, so. It does have a padded cell in there, which, is typical of most of the new, facilities. All the floors are currently finished as far as epoxy flooring. The electrical, and then security electronics and all the fire alarm. I did leave the emergency generator, we need a larger emergency generator than what we have. I wouldn't wanna take the current courthouse and existing facility out, getting them some generators located there. But I think that we should probably, discuss sizing it efficiently in case that generator, which is older, went bad at some point in time, that we would have enough power that we could backfeed into that, the courthouse also. So, and then I did have some sidewalks and everything, and put some site work and stuff into the estimate from the cost. So if you go to the second page of this sheet, the cost is running approximately $384.73 a square foot, which most of the jails have been running about, during COVID, running about $420, $460 a square foot. The one thing I want to mention is that, building a jail is different than anything. It's not that the cost is not associated with building a Taj Mahal. It's trying to build it indestructible, because these inmates that we're dealing with today have nothing to do for 24 hours a day but to try to screw up your facility. So it's got to be hard to structure and everything else. And with the current state energy codes and stuff, you have to bring everything up to code. So the cost, that's what the cost is associated with. The front page just gives you an overall view. I had the architect engineering fee based on the contract, construction administration and on-site supervision, document printing and distribution. I had an estimate in for that. I did not have anything for bonding attorney or bond issuance expenses in there at this point in time. For the mere fact, we haven't had an opportunity to talk. I know Palo Alto used TIF, some of their TIF money off their windmills, and they were able to use some of their debt levy service money. And basically it came to a point where they didn't have to increase taxes at all. So, I did not put anything in there because that could change based on how you decide to fund it. And they were using some of their ARP also to buy materials. I put some project expenses in there, expense allowances. Building demolition, I know in Palo Alto they didn't want to put the building demolition into the main construction, although it came in so reasonable that we ended up being able to put it under the construction budget and take it out of general fund. And I also put a contingency for order of magnitude of 8% in there. So based on what I was looking at on this one, I was in the range of 4.9 million, 4.6 to 4.9 million. I strongly believe that you need the 10 classifications in there for separation instead of just the 2 dorm areas. I think that if you did a dorm area instead of a maximum security area, I think the savings might be $350,000. But on the other hand, you'd lose 3 classifications. So I think that's the kind of things I'm looking from the board is, how do you want me to look at this? Where do I need to, where do you want it to be? And what options are you looking at? Like I said, the dotted line represents that you can go up with 2 of those cells. They're set up, it's just open concrete up there that we can go up, and everything's sized to add 12 more cells, 12 more beds to this. In the future, a step at a time. So what we're trying to do is minimize what our cost is now, and then we can look at other options. But to go up that extra 6 or 8 foot, then to allow for the upper construction in the future, I mean, it was about $150,000, and to me, in the whole scope of things, you need that ability to be able to do that. So I guess what I'm looking from you and the sheriff and, everybody is, where do I need to go with this from here,
Cheaper?
Yeah, that's something, because I think what we discussed before is, that we're kind of hoping to be in the $3.5 million range. I think that you can see by what I'm looking at here, and, that it's gonna be difficult to get to the 3.5.
Myself, I guess, I don't know what Kevin needs, and that's what I would like to visit with Kevin about, see when he's comfortable, or where he's comfortable.
I mean, I'm up here on a pretty consistent basis, so if we need to have a workshop or something, sit down and go through it, but I wanted to know kind of where we were, where we're at, as far as today, when you're investing in a project also. I mean, Palo Alto is like a 32-bed, and it's at like close to $8 million with what they did, and that was during the COVID period that they were bidding. Things come back a little bit, but concrete's still up, around $180 a yard. Steel has come back, and I've tried to eliminate by using the precast as much of the steel as I possibly could.
The 13 bed, is that, the 13 bed, is that already been done up?
We've had them sleeping on the floor a few times. Usually, we haven't been full for a while. But, what John was getting about classifications, we had it just a couple weeks ago. We had a female eliminate him. We got to keep the females and the men sight and sound separated. So she was basically in one cell. This one person was using 5 beds. So that doesn't leave us much room for when other people are coming in. So, we've got to have enough classifications, so.
Make reservations.
Reservation, yeah.
People can use a blue card or driver's license.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too concerned, I mean, the layout can change, maybe some.
Well, I just thought we would have to,
Yeah, that's what I said, something we'd have to more,
driveway can see more.
yeah, that, I talked to Rick about that. I mean, there's some things, but what we wanna do is get the general concept, and then we can modify the drawing, have the architect modify the structure to meet whatever requirements we have. I mean, he'll keep drawing, I know Rick, and he sold himself on drawings. I keep trying to slim it down, keep the budget in line, because, but we have to have a starting point, or else I could draw 100 different plans. So setbacks and stuff are not a concern to me at this point. That can be resolved through the city and everything else during the actual design. What we need to do is come up with a design solution that meets sheriff's needs, meets county budget, and doesn't create a huge tax impact for the taxpayers of Osceola County. That's the overall goal. And so we have to have a combination and a balance there. So there's some to figure out, but like you said, you want to have a workshop, you want to talk to me individually, and I don't have a problem. And we just need to start kicking the ball down the road, get it down the road in a hurry, because if we're going to use any of the ARP funds for this particular project, I believe Rochelle is going to need an answer from us probably sooner rather than later. So I think you have to appropriate some of those funds at some point in time.
It has to be allocated by December of '24, it has to be spent by December 26. But there was talk, if you don't have it allocated, they're gonna take the money back, so jail remodel, so hopefully
Yeah.
that's sufficient.
And that's what I told Rick to call it as a renovation, because if the ARP funds that we're using currently, we're using for materials, because, there is, you are allowed to use ARP money for COVID-related separations, so security electronics and stuff, qualify in these particular cases, so we are actually tracking ARP monies on these other projects, separate from the project monies, for the mere fact that we just wanna make sure that they're aware that we're using that for materials, not labor, so that we don't get into the Davis-Bacon wage requirements and such like that.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to sit down and have a visit with Kevin.
Yes,
Yeah.
and, we set up a workshop or something that if you want, or we come up there and then when you have time to come in, Kevin, service supervisor, or whatever, we can meet and see where we can take it from there.
At least this gives us a place to start.
Yes. So, you can keep front pages if you want, and we'll keep back pages, yeah. I'll leave a couple of back pages for sure. You have any other questions, give us a yell, we go over to Sheriff's Office for a bit, and, be back up here in a couple of minutes.
I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Maybe one meeting for Jerry.
Oh, sure,
Just one for Jerry.
Yeah, that's the only thing, sure.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
When you meet with us.
That way,
Take one by hand.
yeah, we need more here.
When you're ready, when you're ready, if somebody give me a call.
Thanks for your time.
Then I'll run back up.
We can, or I hope we can.
Just give me a call when you're ready to do that, and I'll run back up. I gotta run back down there with John in a minute, so.
Okay.
That'll be the day of rain. Yeah. We have one after every day, it's like, it's raining.
Yours don't.
Yeah, no, it's raining, yeah.
Was your house retired yet, or no?
Yeah, it's our house. He wants to, I'll get nominated.
Oh, does he really? Oh, cool. They didn't find anything, just that it's.
Well, he emptied it. He's drive.
Oh, sure.
And then, cause they said even future art, they, oh, are you interested in housing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, three
Well, good.
three
Yeah. Okay, like I said.
Go back to school.
Okay, I said it would be fine.
Yeah, sure. Wasn't driving.
Did we do it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, yes, I am. Pretty much.
Started there. I'm excited for it.
Storm and I, our district storm, electric,
Oh, thank you.
one from Rock, one from Spirit Lake, and one from
You got those checks on there?
Even though I got him, he's got a little online.
Yeah, they're in charge, yeah, that's why I asked.
Oh, really?
I think that's what Mark.
Because then I'm sure he could, especially when the kids do
Mind
these,
it, I just
by the time they can never get away.
Okay, we'll do the community foundation grants now.
Do you take the pictures or?
Kids come.
I can take them.
Although he didn't want to even more than that.
What we want to do is
I've got conservation board for the.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
we're gonna do the community foundations,
I think it's,
the community foundations now. So if you wanna take your pictures.
Okay.
you guys wanna present?
Sure.
The conservation board here, they had received a grant for a dock at the Ocheeden pit.
No, but I mean, on the, figure out who gets.
Yeah, that board.
Hey, you're right. Want me to get out of this? Oh, you're right.
Come on, man.
You're good, eh?
I don't know if it's supposed to look out here.
This looking right here.
Just look right in the middle.
Yeah, now you want, and.
And I don't recall this one. This is to emergency management, the rescue task force equipment.
Smile, yeah.
I'm always smiling. Thank you.
Is that it for presentation?
Do we have anyone else here? Trails Association,
They were
Ag
not
Pavilion.
sure that they'd be here. The Ag Pavilion contacted me last night, they'd like to come when the fair board can come.
Okay.
So hopefully, 2 weeks.
We need to, he had to run down with him.
Yeah, he's not getting any money. Oh, I guess I'll just, we got the fair board.
They did.
They're not gonna be here.
Partners.
I'll take care of mine. Yeah, doctor expensive. How do you think that'll go for you? What? How do you think that'll go for you? As long as it's given voluntarily, it's pretty good.
I'm gonna just accept for Hawkeye Point, since my girl can't be here.
They may stipulate upon their own check.
No, I keep the check, they send me the invoice, whatever they spend on it.
They want me to swing down there and go full,
That's fine, I'll just need to check on it, so.
Okay.
That's it?
Alright,
Should
that's
do
it?
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you wanna keep that one.
Or you can just,
I can do that, yes.
and I'll fix that up, then I don't have to bring the check.
Okay.
Okay. Now we'll do department heads. Let's start with Veterans Affairs.
Traffic has slowed up a little bit since Greg's been gone. I have finished all my schooling, I'm accredited now, I'm just waiting for the certificate. At first, when Craig first left, I second guessed myself on what I would tell the vets and stuff, but now that I've gone through all the schooling, I'm very confident in what I tell them. So schooling was good.
Good.
I went through recorder schooling in Ames last week, Wednesday, Thursday, so I learned a few different things too, so it's been running pretty smooth and not much new.
Thank you. Regrouping of the Ocean shop is complete. They were able to salvage almost all the insulation. It was all good under the roof, so that project came in well, the budget, what we thought it was going to be. Northwest Iowa Planning, that request that we had for the $1 million, we ended up with $920,000 of that million. That's in fiscal year '28. So that combined with that HSIP grant that we got, and combined with a request by DOT for the county line box culvert, probably have another 5-year plan update coming to you guys to kind of clean up all that paperwork in the coming weeks. The upcoming budget amendment in the next meeting that we're going to do, that's really just to make sure that we have enough spending authority to handle a lot of this insurance payments that are coming in. The money's coming in, but we have to have the money in our budget to deal with that cash flow in the eyes of the DOT. In terms of the Sibley shot fire update, we're still working on the building, but in terms of the equipment, we pretty much are close to finalizing those numbers. In terms of the plated vehicles, the trucks, the big trucks, and the one-ton trucks and pickups and things like that, that's going to be based on depreciated value, so those numbers are not going to be as good as we had hoped. Everything else that's equipment, the loaders, the skid loaders, things like that, that is all based off the agreed upon value that we had in the insurance, and Mike had put significant numbers in those. So in terms of equipment, we're being made whole. I think we had one piece of equipment.
We can't even spend all the money there.
Yeah, there's going to be money left on the table for that. So I think the one thing was the snow blower, which was like a 1984 snow blower. We're getting a brand new one of those, and we have to come out of pocket like $300. So, but the trucks, things like that, will be coming to you with showing that we're going to be probably taking money out of our emergency fund or our rainy day fund. Although we are looking into also a strategy of financing some of the trucks. We're seeing still some aggressive finance rates. Even with how the Fed has been raising rates over the past year, we're seeing 2% rates. So we think we're going to go bullish and just get all 4 trucks. And we may stretch out paying for 2 of them into the next budget year or 2. So that's where we're at on the shop fire. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on that.
What do we have in the building?
So the building was insured for just under $500,000, a little under $500,000. But in terms of that building, it's part of our overall collection of all building assets that we have. So what we've been told so far is that as long as we do a like for like, we're okay. Because overall building-wise, we have about $19 million. So we'll be able to make that happen. What's going to happen is we're going to come up with a bid or a scope for full replacement as is, and then we're going to come up with a scope for what we really want to do in its place, and we'll have to pay the delta. So,
I just have one question on that, with doing a building, would it be better off to put up 2 buildings, kind of separate our stuff so we don't lose it all at one time? You know, if something happened again.
well, we have 3 buildings on that campus now. We had other equipment that was in another building, and plus we had equipment in the shop, and sometimes we park things in the wash bay. So we are actually spread out now. We had talked about possibly doing another building on the south, campus south of the other street there. That would be a building for the future.
I just think we don't want to be like us, so lose the whole showroom.
Yeah.
For something like that, I mean, if they had fire doors or something like that, you know, to partition things off, and I mean, some buildings do have that, you know, that would be, you know, if you got different rooms where you keep your doors shut, maybe protocols that help spreading the fire. If they can fix it.
Dan?
We just had a exercise yesterday, nursing home evacuation exercise. That went over really well. So I think they learned a lot on that one. So, me and the deputies are working on this RTF rescue task force concept. So 911 side, we're going to be spending a lot of money here coming up on new call taking software at the sheriff's office. That's about it.
Okay.
We planted over 400 trees and shrubs at our oak property, continue to try and build shelf belt and get some other hardwoods going for our campground expansion project. So when we're planting trees in our campground, they're not just sticks. We can hopefully get some shade sooner rather than later. We completed 3 trap fires this year. We have, I think, 3 more on the books, but it's getting late enough now that I think we're probably just going to scrap the trap fire program for the season. Still picking up sticks, opening parks. The water's on at Ashton, Melvin, Hawkeye Point. We started mowing our parks last week Friday. We are also in the middle of field trip season. We've had Sheldon Community Schools out last week Thursday. That was probably well over 100 people by the time you include the teachers and chaperones. The Sibley Ocheyedan 3rd grade is this Thursday, and then the Sibley Ocheyedan 7th grade is coming out next Monday morning. We were the recipients of a Community Foundation grant for a new dock in the Ocheyedan Pits, so we're going to get going on that. We'll be selecting the engineering firm tonight for the Willow Creek project, as per the Destination Iowa grant. We put our RFPs out 6 weeks ago. Got 3 proposals back, probably 2 weeks ago, so the board's had a chance to look at, review, and score those. So tonight, we should just be tabulating the final scores and selecting our engineering firm. And then the house at Hawkeye Point, I did find out, is ours again. And I think I talked to that gentleman at like 12:30, and I called Ken Hull at 12:35 to get it on the schedule to get it taken care of. So, he is going to have to come out and do an inspection, and hopefully we do not have to do any asbestos abatement, and then it will be gone, and we can finally move forward with that.
So these Western Iowa visitors guys, I sent them a bunch of information on the county. Unfortunately, they didn't include everything, but we did get some stuff in here. They're pretty like 300,000. They're put them out, so it was free advertising, so it worked out. Also looking at getting our brochures and stuff out around the state and everything here before the summer. Been researching a lot of grants. I hit up the city clerks or certain organizations if it's a grant that could be beneficial, so they're aware of it. But if you're hearing anything about projects or something, have people reach out to me and I'll see if I can find some grant funding and stuff out there for them. Still working housing and childcare. Childcare thing kind of slowed down a little bit with Ben Davis leaving the hospital. He was really wrapped into it, so I'm trying to get my head wrapped around it and get it moving again. And then I've been talking to quite a few people around the county, so we're looking at ways of trying to get high school kids involved with their future careers here, the plumbers, the electricians, the construction workers, and stuff like that. So seeing if we can get them at the junior level, working for businesses here in this area, we can get them maybe trained to stay in the area when they graduate. I'm looking at those types of options.
I will say that we've had good luck in finding equipment and getting replacements. Coming, we have 2 loaders coming next week, to be here this week. Skid loaders last month, we found some trucks that are on the way. Michelle?
Working on 105 budget, Melvin had asked for an extension of all the individuals to go over the map, looking for that. Tax bill passed, so there is a committee between the assessors and auditors across the state trying to decipher that bill, you know, how that's gonna affect us. And we just kind of, Andrew's trying to work on some tax stuff. I think those taxes are gonna run really late this year just because of certification being so late. See what happens. Tax bill will be interesting, that's for sure. I'm scared, we're not gonna play out, but we'll get through it, we don't have a choice.
Language that all money votes had to be during the general election, right?
Yep, in November, so I don't know if we could do that during a school election, or, and I don't know the notifications, I'm supposed to send out a notification to every property owner, their their evaluations, plus the proposed levy rates, and when all the, public hearings are. And initial bill was that they were supposed to have that to us by February 27th, and I had to have them out by March 1st. How that's gonna happen, I have no idea, but obviously people that, the legislation, I don't know how that's gonna work, I guess we'll find out.
And then there's something was
That-
released today.
Ed?
Okay, there's some bills, compliments Ed, so. Thank you.
What's happening?
Mike,
It doesn't matter.
Mike's gonna go tell Reggie to go after it. I don't know. Mike's gonna go tell Reggie to go after it.
Well, you told me you didn't agree.
I was just curious to hear. Reasoning behind it.
Somebody wanna hear that.
Things are probably better, my time's probably better than going to the meeting for instead.
They're gonna tell him to go on the other side.
Invite us to resolutions for a minute. Okay, consider DAK land holding LLC tax rebate extension. Have you guys had time to think about it?
I don't know that you can do it.
What the legal counsel say? We'll reach out to them. You guys want to have an answer
We
to that?
designated Mike.
I forgot to stop in and do it.
Because I don't think it fits the requirements under chapter 15A, and I don't know how you extend a contract that's already in force.
Okay, I will do that today. I forgot all about it. But personally, if we can do it legally, I can see going 5 years. That's just my thought.
Have you guys reached out, I know, with grants over checking out the revolving loan fund?
Well, I know we talked to, do some funding through, whether it be through the bank here in town, like a grant, interest rates are gonna be high, I'm sure. That was about it we checked into, which we're not gonna try to borrow anything, we don't have to, but we're gonna have to at the end somewhere. But, so far, yeah, we've been able to pay for everything, but when we get to the last building, we're gonna have to pay for the building, because we're adding buildings, finishing buildings in that complex there, so we're using more land, which will be more tax dollars in the future there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's on me.
So, yeah, for the most part, I mean, I don't know how much money was allocated to that property.
130,000 was a tax
The max.
max
Max.
levy.
Okay,
over
and
the-
where are we at with that at this point?
80? Is that right?
Yeah, it had like 40-some left, I think, after,
So at 40-some left on a 20-year term on that lot, are you really doing anything wrong by extending it?
10-year term.
it's 10, yeah, we're on year 8 of 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those will be, what we've been seeing each year, about 10,000, right?
Yeah,
And then one will be pretty much nothing.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, tax bill for
Jeez.
23, 24 will be what you're normally getting, and then
Yeah.
the following year, valuation was reduced considerably because of the fire.
Yeah.
Basically, the original idea was that it'd be 5 years worth of taxes rebated over 10-year periods. Practically, it's done basically a 50% rebate every year. Projecting that out, they figured it could be 130,000 over the course of those, or in total. Valuations haven't reached that, so there will be some of that that gets unrebated. They had the thought of what about authorizing an extension to that 10-year period and having the authority to rebate up to the $130,000. I personally would consider what their new overall valuation would be and grant some additional rebate because of the growth in valuation.
I just looked,
So it is.
the end of this year, there's 49,207 left of that 130,000 that's been asked.
And after having this discussion on the jail, we really need to have some of this revenue start hitting the books to come in and start paying for some of this stuff. And we've already got 20 years worth of tax revenue tied up with that hotel and a full rebate that we're not gonna see for another 12 years. So I don't see keep extending these out and asking taxpayers.
But we still
to
got a
keep
hotel
taking it.
motel tax on that.
That doesn't make up
It
for
comes
that.
pretty close.
It doesn't make up for that money.
And they do a $10,000 donation to.
But that doesn't come back into the general fund to help pay for all the rest of the things that we need to pay for.
I don't disagree with that, but we had a business that could have taken their insurance money and relocated elsewhere. And then we would have had nothing after our investment for almost 10 years. So there's a give and take, there's a risk associated with it. I think we're in a far better situation by encouraging those that are investing here and participating in an agreement with them.
But I don't think we can pick winners and losers with this.
I don't think we are.
It's tax money. We got other things that we need to pay for. We got our own stuff that's burned up that we need to replace as well. That revenue would be helpful for that rather than tagging the taxpayers for it to make up the difference to what we're rebating back out.
Well, first of all, we'll call in and see if it's legal.
We're tagging the taxpayer that's paying the tax. We're not taxing other
But it's
people,
still
we're using their growth.
our revenue.
And had they not gone, we wouldn't have the revenue.
I know, but
That's the whole
that
idea,
revenue, but it's
throwing the pot.
not their money. Once that's been assessed for taxes, that's tax revenue.
I'll take
That area out there brought $500 into the county coffers before the development.
We're still paying the road for secondary roads that we.
And we're still getting what
Yeah.
we're getting before. It's the income, it's the growth that we're using to incentivize and to encourage.
But you have to
Do
do
So
some.
what
Like I
we were
said-
getting before, we're getting.
Under what they got in the code, I don't know how you can do it. It doesn't fit.
Well, we'll make a phone call. I was the one that messed up. So,
What code did you cite?
15A.
but we'll make a phone call.
It's in the
and talk about it
agreement.
Why not 403?
Because everything in the agreement's based off 15A.
We'll make a phone call.
Everything that's
We'll find
listed
out.
in
We'll go from there.
I don't know what the guarantees are gonna be for payroll. I don't know what you're gonna have tied. You'd have to do a new agreement.
If we're going to reach out to them, as I said 2 weeks ago, what might we do? If the attorneys tell us, yes, you could do this, here's how, what might we do? I think it'd be good to ask them
Yeah.
an idea.
That's what we asked for last meeting.
The attorneys don't need to tell us what we can and should do for our local businesses when
No,
we're
I'm
encouraging.
saying what's legal to do. Is it gonna fit under the requirements of the code? I don't know that it is.
Well, we'll find out.
But isn't there money still sitting in that original agreement?
Doesn't mean you get it all. It's
I'm
in
not
that
saying,
amount.
I'm not saying there ain't, I'm just saying there was some money left in the original agreement.
Yeah, there's money left, I mean, that money's not sitting in a fund or
No.
anything like that, it's just we collect it every year. Yeah.
And because of the assessment going down, we won't be able to collect that to give back at the same rate. Because the building's not there anymore.
But that's gonna be back next year.
So according to. We're already building, I mean, it's going. I mean.
But she won't go out and reassess it till it's finished.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, we have a building just about completed, so, one building. And we have the other shop that is completed, the south building that was there is now finished off. So that building's done. The new one, by the end of the month, is gonna be done. And then in, 8 weeks, we're building the new one. June 15th, the building gets done. So it isn't like we're sitting there not doing nothing, not getting it built. We're definitely building it, we're keeping people in town.
And what's your annual payroll?
I'd have to ask Shelley on that.
I think the previous agreement couldn't be any less than 1.1 million.
Oh, it'll be over that.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I think all the grants and revolving loan stuff should be exhausted first before you come asking for, that's just my thought on it, is we need to get revenue coming back in to pay for some of these other things we need to provide for the county. And by kicking all this stuff out for extended periods of time, that money isn't making it back into the general.
But if we don't do that, we won't have people coming to the county either.
It hasn't increased the population. I mean, if you want to try to correlate this stuff, they got a great study out of Iowa State, tip dollars versus increased population, and there isn't any correlation to it, so I don't know what you're.
Look at Shelby.
I know, like, a bunch of the people that work in our area, at Bosma Poultry has bought houses here in Tenth County. We've brought people from other places and they've purchased houses here. So, it isn't like we haven't brought people in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the general population figures we get, so, and I don't see big increases from all the stuff we've done, but.
And I find it hard to believe that utilization of TIP and encouraging projects has decreased the interest of population in moving there.
You should read that article, I'll send it to you, it's a good study.
Okay. Sorry about that. I will try to do that today.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming.
But if it's legal, you won't offer anything you would consider, if it's found to be legal, there's nothing you would consider.
But you're talking 15 years. Usually anything, 10 is usually the limit for everything. I couldn't find 15-year programs that weren't tied to like $20 or $30 million projects. And I couldn't find any that were 20-year forward things.
When did we last get the $20 million projects interested in our county?
I'm just saying.
You always want to compare comparables, and those are not situations that we deal with.
Well, 15 years for anything is unheard of.
And had they not built, we'd have $500 from that ground out there being paid into the general fund every year.
But the whole thing boils down to you're asking us to subsidize something that's not getting covered by insurance. Because it sounds like maybe they were underinsured for some of that stuff. And that's, I don't know how you would do that.
We're asking the taxpayers to subsidize what we're underinsured for.
Let's go to resolution.
But we went through our insurance here recently to do that.
Let's go through the resolutions.
Okay.
I just think we're short-sighted if we don't even offer
If we don't look.
the attorneys what we might be considering.
Will you sit down on the call with me?
I'd rather not.
Okay. Okay, resolution 40-22-23, general basic fund to county conservation land acquisition fund.
So originally, we had the 20,000 that's what he gets in rent, and then I subtracted, he had over 10,433.84 in engineer's costs, so I subtracted that from the 20,000, and I came to this 9,556.
Okay.
That's number 40.
Yeah. It was on the agenda the last time, and when we,
So the sum is still 20,000?
no, it's at 9,955.16.
So I got the wrong one.
No, right.
I do got the wrong one.
Is that from the last time?
Yeah, must be. The numbers are different.
Number
Here.
40.
Right?
Sorry about that. Is that in your folder?
Yeah.
In that red folder?
Yep. Yellow.
And then
Really, the yellow folder?
Yep.
Okay. And I don't know what happened. I thought everybody had the right copy, so I'm
Okay.
sorry about that.
I'll go with 9,000. I'll make a motion on that.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do we have support? I'll support that. All in favor, or no? Yeah,
Aye.
Leroy.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Just about got me on that one, Jason. Okay, resolution 44-22-23, amending resolution 37-22-23, operating transfer amended ethanol deal.
Last board meeting, you know, we had to transfer 29,122.35, but after Becky made the adjustment per property assessment appeal board to the ethanol plant, it reduced our increment value, so we had to decrease that resolution to 25,303.35. So that fund's not in the red.
Okay,
So it's just a correction.
do we have a motion? Do we have support? Leroy. Jason.
Aye.
Kevin. Aye. Debt collection fund, ethanol, TIF, and P&I fund.
Oh, that's all the same resolutions.
Oh, okay.
We're done.
Okay. Approved.
Yep.
Approve FY '22 certification of cost allocation plan.
This is a plan that we get every year from cost advisory. And it kind of gives a summary as to how much money we received for our fiscal year. 22 was 9,000. $7,845.25.
That's what we paid them.
No, that's what we get back.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that help us. We paid them about 4,000, so we're still ahead of the game.
Good. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have support? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discuss with Ryan County Drainage District number 5.
I'm gonna go get Shane Tree in a minute.
Is that a non-joint?
Number 5, I think it is, isn't it? The Drainage District number 5 is the Ryan County, that's that one that's really not.
Yeah, not a joint. Chantry talked to Jim Hudson, he didn't really want to give us much information, correct? I just know that he talked to Jim Hudson, and he really didn't want to give us much information. Yes, since he's not our attorney.
He, at the end of the conversation, he said, I would just do whatever you did last time, but I think that was kind of gonna be the general consensus anyways. That's what-
6%, 5%, that's.
Well, last time,
Yes.
we didn't do waivers and we didn't charge any interest, we just did the regular assessment, and once we received those collections, then we sent them to O'Brien County.
So is that what we're doing this time?
I don't know.
In hindsight, I'm irritated that I went along with it last time. I don't know what legal authority we had to do it, and I'm really questioning why they supported that.
Yeah.
The legal counsel for the district recommending the assessment won't give us sound reasoning.
He represents O'Brien County on the ditches, the controlling, but he doesn't represent Osceola County, even though it involves Osceola County landowners. So I don't know if he would represent Osceola County landowners if they inquire about it, or I don't know. You know,
Reason I'm concerned we're assessing our citizens where they don't have a say
right?
or representation, real representation, so.
So, at the end of it, yeah, he just said, I would just do what you did last time, and that was his take on it. And I'm fine doing it that way if that's the right way to do it, but I was looking for procedural, like, direction as far as, you know, what's required, and, you know, if they have to send notices out, I didn't get anything to send to any of our landowners, but I understand there's a time gap in there because of, they were waiting for the last payment from FEMA to come in, and it just came in, so, or came in sometime recently, so now they're doing the assessment.
So I guess we just have to decide, do we offer the waivers or do we not offer the waivers? And if we do offer the waivers at 5% or 6% or?
Use our normal percentage.
Can we?
And we had, I think, I remember right, there was a total of like, I wanna say it was like 15 parcels maybe, but of those, only 7 of them, I think, would even qualify for a waiver. And to qualify for a waiver, the assessment has to be over $500.
I think I would offer, just like with our percentages. That's just my thought, I don't know what you guys think.
To offer waivers, then we have to allow we have to send out the notice of assessment, and then they have 30 days to sign the waiver, or so you'll have to, I think there's some timeframes that we need to, do they need any, we don't have to do any publications of any of that, or anything, no. So, none of that, we just gotta give them 30 days, the 30 days, and then,
So the sooner we get it out, the sooner we can work on that. We can get them out.
That's just my thought, I don't know what the other guys think.
Yeah, by the 15th, and then we come back to June 15th, then,
Might just have a motion, so that's in our record, so if anybody questions us, we're gonna put a note with the waivers, if they have any questions, I need to talk to Bryan County as to what work was done, because we have no idea what work was done. That's how the board wants us to proceed.
Do we have any motions of what we wanna do?
And it would be kinda nice to, like, have some direction as far as going forward, so when we get another resolution from Bryan County, that we know this is what we need to follow. That's kind of what I was looking for when we were digging into this, to try and get the correct procedural, process down. I'm fine doing it, however, I just wanna do it right, so.
We don't think anybody will waiver, but we don't know that for sure. The assessment, I mean, our county's only $8,000, or less than 8,000, so it's not a huge amount, but don't.
That's spread between the same.
I wanna say it was like maybe 15 parcels,
Okay,
we don't have a huge one.
what do you guys wanna do? Or we can send Chantry out, just pay herself and be done.
I already took my kitchen fund, I have my own drainage assessment to pay. How much more do you want from me? I don't know if, any of these, I wasn't around when this was set in place, so I understand it was a heated thing, but I don't know if any of these landowners would contact any of you guys when they receive their assessments or not, but I think they all know what's going on. If and when you may. Because if they call me, I'm gonna say, hey, call the.
Send them to O'Brien.
O'Brien, I know, but.
Well, since they're the ones in charge of it, I guess you just send it out, send them their money, if anybody's got any questions, refer them down to O'Brien.
Okay, so we are doing the waivers then?
Did you do it last time?
I wasn't here last time. But no, by my understanding, the assessment then was over 16,000 and there was no assessment, or no waivers done. I don't know how that factored out for the parcel, but if ours is less than 8,000, that's less than
So
half.
would they need to ask O'Brien for the waiver, or would they need to ask us for the waiver?
No, I think they would get it from us because we issued the assessment, so we need to have the
I guess
waiver.
wait and see if you get asked for a waiver.
Well, we have to allow 30 days. They have 30 days to sign the waiver, and then, they either pay the assessment, or they sign up for the waiver, or then they'll be on the, if they get their notice, then they have to either sign up in 30 days to say that they're gonna waiver, and then when the assessments go out, that'll either be their amortized payment amount over whatever term you guys decide then.
I think O'Brien did 10 years, right?
They did do 10 years.
10 years, so.
But their assessment was, the total assessment for the ditch project was $180,000, like right at $180,000. So their portion of that is significantly higher than ours. Ours is
Yeah.
less than 8,000 for all of our ditches, so I don't know. I don't know if you deviate from the 10 or if that's just kind of a base you go with, but that seems excessive for the little bit that we have.
Well, I don't think we have a choice. I think we have
That
to.
could be true.
I don't think,
That I don't know.
yeah, that's another legality thing we're trying to figure out, but I think, so Bryan County did 10, I think we have to use 10 feet.
Or if we don't do it at all, then.
Yeah, I don't know legally we cannot do it at all either.
Well, in the, I mean, I don't know. I try to read the code and I feel like it can be interpreted multiple different ways, but when I talk to like Dickinson County, when they do their annual assessment amount, if there's any over $5,000, but it's on an annual assessment, they never offer waivers. And in the code, it does read something about you qualify if you have like $500 or more in assessments, but if, I don't know how you decide that, but if it's deemed not financially burdening, then you don't have to offer waivers. But how do we know everybody's financial burden, you know? Then they also, with their software, they're able to split the payment so that the payment, they pay half of it in the fall, half of it in spring, just like property taxes. Our system, I asked about that, and we can't do that at that, the way our system does it, but when I talked with Becky, if we did waivers, and follow suit with what O'Brien County does, then, we would have the 5% that we would charge, or 6%, or whatever is decided. But to me, I feel like we shouldn't charge our landowners 1% more just because our county does, because it's all gonna go to O'Brien County, we don't keep any money too. They would get all of the interest and everything too, so, but if we didn't offer waivers and they paid as they could, they would just be, I think it's 1.5%, isn't it? For like late.
If it was a joint, we would have agreed to what that percentage would have been. But
I know,
if
that's
it's not
why
a joint,
this is a unique situation, so there's a lot of questions that I have.
because we agreed to 6 with Dickinson for that joint that we have with them, but
Sure.
because this isn't a joint, I don't know how you change what the county rate is without it being a joint agreement with O'Brien.
Jim said that, you can change the percentage, it doesn't matter if your county has like a base percentage that they decide to stick with, but per project you can change that, and it's simply, I just enter whatever our rate is, so procedural wise, I got that covered, like, if you guys agree to say, hey, let's just do what O'Brien County is doing, then
Just on that project.
just on this assessment, yeah. But,
Okay, any thoughts what we wanna do? I'll entertain a motion.
Do the 5 and send out the waivers and the letters and call it good.
5 or 10 years,
I mean, I don't
probably,
know,
we have to.
to make it equitable with what everybody else in the district is paying, since it's a separate district. I guess,
Got a motion?
yeah.
Okay, we've got a motion, do we have support? I'll support that. All in favor?
I don't know what legal authority we have to our solicitor, so I'm not in favor of it. We just identified this very similar problem with DD 38, we made it a joint, so for them not explaining to us why they're not involved, and I'm opposed to.
Well, that's why I wanted to
proceeding.
talk to our attorney, but nobody wanted to pay for that, so.
Okay, opposed?
Right.
Okay. Okay, passes. Okay, courthouse office repairs update.
Finished May 7th, right?
Greg should be done painting in the treasurer's office today,
We're done.
and then, yeah, Neil and Harold are coming back tomorrow to get some of their stuff done downstairs, and they're gonna finish up the recorder's office the 18th, 19th, 20th, 22nd. That week to finish up, they have to do one more skim coat, and then they have to, texture it, and paint it. And they said they might have another 100 hours these bills and you're willing to pay them.
But there was only one fishing trip cleared in the original bid, not two.
I don't know if they're going fishing now or not. I thought they would be gone this week, but they said they're coming back Thursday, Friday, I have no idea.
What number is that?
I think that's a dollar sign. I think it's,
Close to $580? Well, 13 something.
I thought, well, I thought it was 5,580, but we all, yes. That's what I'm taking it as, 5,580. That makes sense, I didn't add it up.
Okay.
Jason's adding it up. And then
Well,
we
if
all,
it's 13,000 up there and 8,000 here, it's gotta be more than 55 here.
well, it might be, what we paid though, 8,500. Which is, we already paid him $8,500.
Oh, okay.
So, I think we owe him 5,580. Oh, the bid's gone. We're way past the bid. Way past.
Well,
We just wanna make sure the board's okay paying, approving Amy and
yeah.
Interior, and we really don't. What? Yes, my wife? No.
And what's on the back side?
That's
the
Harold's
deal?
bill, that's Harold and Harold and Neil's bid. That's on
Oh,
top
okay.
of that, there are two
Okay.
different people we're paying here.
Okay.
Greg told me he only had like maybe 16 to 20 hours left and then he's done. Harold, they said they have 100 to 125 left to finish the recorder's office.
He does different work than.
Yeah, he does more of the patching and, repairs. Greg didn't do a whole lot of that. He did more of the painting.
Okay, what do you wanna do?
Longer than what we got, but it is what it is.
What do we wanna do? Take a motion.
I don't know if we have a choice, but.
Yeah, we
What are we gonna do besides pay?
But do you need a motion for it or not?
Just so I have it in the minutes so that the auditors ever come back, they know that it was approved by the board because we're over the
Okay.
bid.
Okay.
Please and thank you.
I would entertain a motion.
We didn't do a motion when they identified the extra work needed.
Yeah, I think we did, didn't we?
Yep,
I think we did. But, it's over that again, because he's got to be, 100 hours between the two, now it's $200 hours just in the treasurer's office. When I texted him yesterday, he told me another 100, 120 to finish everything, is what he told me, so. I have it on my phone.
Okay.
I know there's more work than they initially thought.
Where do they get per hour? The two guys different.
$40.
$40 an hour.
Look on the back side, it's $40 then.
If they're both the same, both guys.
Yeah, they must have, but it's probably $40 per hour for both of them. Greg, I don't know what his charge is. I did do a budget amendment, so I have enough in there to cover.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a motion? Do we have support? All in favor? Opposed? Is there a reason Sharon always uses her own for postage?
Yeah, so we did.
Has she?
She doesn't have a county credit card.
motion, do we have support? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Well, that darn engineer sure spends money.
Gonna be spending a lot on the insurance stuff coming in.
I couldn't resist that. So we're at the claims. You said that Ochita roof came in under estimate.
The first claim in there is material costs. And then at the time we got claims submitted to the auditor, he finished, so we'll have another fine.
But how much under did he come in?
Like $6,000 under, I think.
Good.
It was, we thought we were gonna have to replace all the insulation under the roof. We started pulling the tin, and it was good, so.
Good. Gotta get lucky once in a while.
Salt shed's coming in under budget too. We thought we were gonna spend on that, so.
The which one?
The salt shed here in
Oh, okay.
Sibley, where it should be, if the cover should get on here in the next week or so. And that one's done.
Okay, good. Everybody see, looked at the claims, I would entertain a motion.
So,
Motion's, pardon?
I'll support payment of the remainder.
Okay. A motion, support, all in favor? Opposed? Guess what, we're done. When do you go?